Oh yeah. Bravo. Bravo. All right, today we got Captain America Civil War. And although this movie is full of a whole bunch of different Avengers, this is actually the third Captain America movie. All right, so this movie picks up right after the last Avengers, and the government basically steps in and lets the Avengers know, hey, you guys are a little bit too powerful, and we need to put some rules and regulations in place to kind of put you guys back in check. And of course, some of the Avengers agree with it, some of them don't. On one hand, you have Captain America and a few of his buddies who are like, you're taking away our freedoms, and we don't like this idea because what if you send us somewhere that we don't feel is morally right? Or what if we feel we need to go somewhere and you don't let us go? Then on the flip side, you have Iron Man and his people, and they're thinking, yeah, we do have too much freedom and we do need to have some rules in place because if not, we're no better than the people that we're so-called defending against. When the Avengers first debuted on the big screen, I was a huge fan of Iron Man and Hulk. Now in this new Captain America, we got introduced to some new Avengers like Ant-Man, Black Panther, new adaptation of Spider-Man, and I'll talk about all those guys here in a second, but with them splitting on Civil War, of course I gravitated towards Team Stark because I'm an Iron Man fan. Now throughout this movie, with the way it was directed and shot and the background and the storyline, it's kind of hard to stick on one team or the other regardless of which way you went because they show the pros and the cons of each side and there are ethical dilemmas both ways. So I caught myself a few times drifting back and forth, but when you watch it, let me know which team you were with and let me know if you stuck with them at the end. First things first, I gotta speak about my guy Black Panther. Growing up as a biracial kid with a black father, I always took a liking to black superheroes. Now, I grew up with the Black Green Lantern, and there's a lot of controversy about that because I know traditionally he's a white guy, but all that's for a different time. Black Panther, though, has always been black. So when I found out he was going to be in a new Captain America, of course I was excited. And let me tell you, Chadwick Boseman did amazing. I loved him. I mean, his presence on screen, his accent, the whole acting, the action sequences, everything was great. And I'm excited that he's going to get his own movie and I can't wait to see it. Another character that I was really excited to see was the new adaptation of Spider-Man. We've seen so many different versions of Spider-Man, but I feel like in this Captain America movie, they did a wonderful job. I mean, first off, they got a young person to play Spider-Man because typically they go get some adult and try to make him look young. But in this one, they actually got a kid. And they kind of stick true to the Peter Parker scenario because when Tony goes and finds this guy, he's poor. He has a very old school computer and he's living in this rundown apartment and his costume is shit. But once he gets an upgrade through Tony and joins Team Stark, then you see this new adaptation of Spider-Man, which I loved. I mean, he brought his youth, his humor, his wit, all that to the screen, and it just meshed well with the rest of the Avenger characters. Another guy that I liked to see on this movie was Ant-Man. He did a wonderful job. I enjoyed his movie when it came out, and his humor tied in good for Team Cap, and I just like to see the whole thing on screen. Overall, I really liked all the characters, but the new ones really did it for me. Now with this team having been together so long and been through so much stuff, you can kind of see the dilemmas that they're having when they're kind of going head to head, and it shows throughout the whole movie. Now, the action scenes and the fighting sequences in this movie were off the charts. They were great. I mean, I loved every minute of it. But you could see during the action sequences that these guys care about each other. They're friends because they weren't swinging for the fences. It was more like, let me do just enough to put you down and hopefully you'll stay down. But of course that wasn't the case. Now, aside from all the friends fighting each other and you kind of feel bad for them and you can see that they feel bad for each other, you also see the mental struggle going on between Tony Stark and Captain America. I mean, like I said in the beginning, with the backstory and the detail that they put into the script in this movie, you can kind of see both sides of it. You understand why Tony feels the way he feels because they have done so much damage collaterally and so many people have been affected that they didn't know about. Then on the other hand, you see where Captain America is coming from because the government, as they show in all these movies and as you see in life, they tend to jump to conclusions. So Captain America is fighting to show that, you know, people's agendas changes, and that's what he says in the movie, and he stands firm to, we do what's right and we are the best ruler for ourselves as far as the Avengers go. And then Tony's like, hey, we do need to be checked from time to time. So again, you see what's going on with both of them, and you even understand what's going on with the main villain in this story. Now, speaking about the main villain in this story, you have a guy who's basically trying to get revenge because he's one of the people who suffer collateral damage. And I feel like he did a great job in the movie as a villain, but also I feel like they threw him in there for the sake of having a villain because, I mean, this is a movie filled with all superheroes and supposedly good guys, so it kind of would be a contradictory movie if superheroes just fought each other the whole time. So I feel like that's why they just sprinkled in the villain, but made for an interesting side story. With the huge influx of superhero movies, I have to give Marvel credit. I mean, you thought that Avengers was going to be the flagship because Avengers 1 was so great, but I feel like Avengers 2 kind of didn't live up to the hype. It was like a repeat of Avengers 1 with a different villain. But I have to say, of all the Marvel movies and the little mini series that goes on to make the Avengers, I gotta say Captain America's probably at the top for me. I mean, it's the only one that, in my opinion, every movie got better than the last. And Civil War just cemented itself as the flagship for the Marvel movies, in my opinion. So the movie was awesome. I love the characters, especially Black Panther, who was my favorite in this movie, the new adaptation of Spider-Man, and everyone else, including my boy Ant-Man. Now, I love to see the conflict of the two main characters and their ideologies opposing each other, and they're trying to get one another to sway to the other side with doing as little damage as possible. And I love the deep background, and I even like the villain in this movie. So if I gotta rate it, this movie is definitely legendary. All right, that's it for this one. So as always, whether you liked it or whether you hated it, comment below, let me know. But if you liked it and you thought this video rocked, like, comment, and subscribe to see more from me, Mike Proc. Later.